championship. Nine Tar Heel seniors are shooting for their third national title today against an undefeated Cardinal team, looking to shake things up, seeking a first championship to cap off the perfect season.
This year, our expectations are to win a national championship. I think it's a team goal and it's a personal goal. So I think, and it's been our goal since the beginning of the season.
Playing North Carolina in the final would be a very pivotal moment, I think, in the Stanford program, because the UNC dynasty, their storied program, it would be a really nice feeling to be able to beat them, and I feel like our season would feel really complete having played them.
The NCAA Women's Soccer Championship is presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. At the Aggie Soccer Complex in College Station, Texas, the North Carolina Tar Heels are going after the program's 20th national championship. For Stanford, it's first. And it's all part of Jimmy V Week on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation for Cancer Research in tribute to Jim Valvano and his dream to defeat cancer. Down to the final two teams. Stanford got a golden goal to eliminate UCLA in the semis, while North Carolina scored in the final 10 minutes to defeat Notre Dame, so a pair of top seeds will play for the title. And welcome to College Station, Texas. I'm Beth Mowens, along with two-time national champion Kat Whitehill. And Kat, both these teams come in with a very specific game plan, and it will be easy to see based on who determines their own fate who's going to win this thing.
Well, it is. It's high pressure for North Carolina and possession for Stanford. Who can come out doing what they do best? For North Carolina, it's three people up top to press the four back from Stanford. And Stanford, they say that their possession is made to break the pressure. Can they do that? If they do, they will come out on top.
Let's start out talking about the Tar Heels and Casey Nogueira, who has been Casey clutch during her College Cup career.
She really has, and she can bring any type of shot to the game, and she'll shoot from anywhere. As you can see, a world-class goal from long range here, and right in front of the goal, she finishes it from a great cross. But she can't do any of this unless she has Tobin Heath. She is the heart and soul of this team. She's one of the best skilled players you will see in the college game right now. And with Tobin Heath, Casey Nogueira is successful. So you need Tobin Heath to touch the ball as much as possible.
Stanford had the highest scoring tandem in the country this year, and both of them came through in the semis.
Well, Kelly O'Hara and Kristen Press are so dangerous, and the reason they are is because they can score from anywhere, and they are very, very crafty on the ball. So they'll individually beat players 1v1, and you cannot give them any space because they will finish.
They have scored a goal now in 21 of their 25 matches this year, and their points totals the top two numbers in Stanford history as they have enjoyed the best season ever in Palo Alto. They are the four top players around the country, and they have helped get their teams into the national championship match. Cardinal and Tar Heels will kick it off next. And welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the NCAA College Cup presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. But the field is in excellent condition and it drains extremely well here in Aggieland. Stanford is the overall #1 seed in the tournament, wearing their home whites, Carolina in blue. And Tobin Heath with a touch in midfield. Tries to get it up top to Jessica McDonald. Ball ping-ponging around in midfield.
Well, these first 5 minutes for both of these teams are going to be extremely important because anything can happen. You mentally have to set yourself sound, stay calm, but the first thing you want to do is just get the ball out. You don't want to take any chances, especially in this weather.
And any first half fireworks would be a bonus for either team because North Carolina has only given up one goal all year in the first half, while Stanford, 2/3 of their goals have come in the second half. We talked with G. Guerreri, the head coach here at A&M, and he gave us a little scouting report on how the weather might affect the play today.
Well, this is a great scouting report, and it is very important, and this kind of comes to Stanford's game is the ball to the feet. They must keep playing the 2 feet, while Carolina likes to play a little bit over the top.
Offside flag was up. Coach Guerreri also suggested the players might have more success by shooting low and using that wet turf to skip the ball. And all sides will certainly have to be ready for rebounds if the keepers can't hang on.
Well, you always want to shoot low, but even more so in this weather, especially with this field as slick as it can be, those bounces are just going to be very, very strange. It's going to be hard for a keeper to read it. And if you can get a rebound, or if you're just shooting, it might just go in. So take your chances. Long-range shots are going to be very important for both teams today.
And interesting, the official actually just changed out the soccer ball. A new soccer ball has come on. Also, we should note, just moments before kickoff, the Stanford camp told us that 6 players, including Kelly O'Hara, did not practice yesterday and were suffering from symptoms of a stomach virus. So whether or not their fitness will come into question will play out as well today. This is O'Hara with the touch and the tap back.
Well, fitness is already going to come into play today because they've both had a very, very tough game in the semifinals. For Stanford, they had an overtime game, but then add on a stomach flu virus type symptoms to that, and you're going to be very dehydrated, so you're probably going to see Kelly O'Hara drinking a lot of fluids as the game goes on.
This is Klingenberg trying to settle, taken away by Heath. Kristen Press tried to push it forward for Stanford, number 23 in white. And now to Klingenberg, who has tremendous speed in that 4 jersey in blue. Alicia Jenkins plays it back to Kira Maker, the keeper. Her first start in the finals. Of course, her counterpart, Ashlyn Harris, has extensive experience in the College Cups in 06 and 08. Noguera plays it in front, redirected in the early goal for the Tar Heels. Jessica McDonald puts it in the back of the net in the 3rd minute of the championship match. And for just the 6th time this year, Stanford falls behind.
We talked about how important these first 5 minutes are, and Casey Noguera puts in a world-class cross, and Jessica McDonald gets in between both Stanford defenders. One of them needed to take her and get in between her and the ball. Unfortunately, looks like they might have had a miscommunication, and Jess McDonald sneaks in between them and gets a great goal.
Noguera with the assist to McDonald, and the Tar Heels grab the early lead. For Stanford, they did fall behind in the first 5 minutes in their quarterfinal matchup against Boston College, and Kelly O'Hara scored the equalizer 50 seconds later. So can they respond quickly again here in the championship?
Stanford has to be thinking, we're okay, and here's a look again at Casey Noguera's excellent cross, and Jess McDonald does exactly what you want to do as a forward. Find the space in between the defenders, because it's so hard for a defender to defend a cross like that, and Jess McDonald did just that and scored the goal.
Her 9th goal of the season. Played with Carolina last year after transferring from junior college because she wanted to play in this kind of environment. She wanted to test herself against the best in the country and win a national championship. And she's got her team on top early. The junior out of Glendale, Arizona with the strike. And now Kelly O'Hara, number 19 in white for Stanford. Looking to get it up front to Press. There's a good look at Kelly, the senior from Fayetteville, Georgia, this year's Pac-10 Player of the Year. Coach Ratcliffe says she creates opportunities not only for herself, but for everybody else out there, and that will be job number 1 for the rest of this match. Now McDonald going the other way for the Tar Heels. Feeding Courtney Jones, trying to chip it over the top of Maker and missed it wide. Another good opportunity. That high pressure we've talked about leading to chances, as the Tar Heels have now outshot the opposition in the NCAA tournament by about a 4-1 margin, including out-shooting Notre Dame in the semis 26-8.
And for Stanford right now, they need to get back to their game plan, settle the ball down, don't worry about the weather, don't worry about being down 1-0. Possess, keep the ball on the ground, take good touches, get your outside backs forward. That's going to be key for Stanford. They need to focus on doing that. Obviously, there's still plenty of time for them to score a tying goal.
One of the things that Paul Ratcliffe talked about yesterday when we asked him, you know, a lot of firsts this year, a lot of records broken. How will they handle this kind of environment? He said, you know what, we've seen the confidence improve with every game this year. And we have all the confidence in the world that our big-time strikers up top will be able to find the back of the net for us when we need them. This is Kristen Press, number 23 for Stanford. Lots of blue jerseys around her. Now Nagara's after it. The header to Tobin Heath. Riley got the steal. This is not completely uncharted territory for the Cardinal. They have 5 come from behind wins. And now the rain starting to come down harder here in College Station, Texas. 7 minutes in, and the quick strike from Jessica McDonald giving North Carolina the lead.
This rain is going to be very interesting to see what happens, especially if the rain keeps falling harder. For North Carolina, it's going to be a little bit difficult playing that direct ball just because the ball can just be slippery. If any one skip on the ball, it doesn't really work. And for Stanford, focusing on their first touch with that possession, this rain could be interesting for both teams.
Ball will trickle over the far touchline. And the throw in for Stanford. Going against all the history of this North Carolina program and their head coach, Anson Dorrance. Look at that number. 7 times in the College Cup, his teams have beaten an undefeated opponent. And they are trying to do it again here today against the Cardinal.
Well, there's just so much pressure coming in as an undefeated person. You already have pressure in the College Cup, but then to be undefeated, you just have this target on your back because people are like, I want to be that one loss.
You had the opportunity in 2003, Kat, to come into the finals undefeated. And you guys were able to take care of business, winning the championship over UConn. As Carolina wanted the handball. Don't get the whistle there.
And that's something that this field also plays in. When you're a defender, you have to get your whole body behind it. If you don't get that, it could come up and hit your hand. And for Stanford, I think they're a little lucky there that the referee didn't call it.
Corner kick, which McDonald, the goal scorer, is one of their key targets. She'll be making a far post run. Looking for her head. Stanford got there first.
That was a good job by Stanford. Jess McDonald never really got any kind of momentum to try and head that ball. You could see she was backing up, which is not what you want to do as a target player. Stanford did an excellent job defending her.
Looking for space to turn is Noyola. Now out to Kwan. One of those backs that will look to push forward as much as possible.
And so far in the first 10 minutes, we haven't seen Rachel Kwan or Allie Riley get the ball in a possession way. So far, Stanford has actually been direct and not really getting anything offensively. They just have to settle down. They can't freak out that they're down 1-0 right now.
So through the first 10 minutes, the pressure is winning out over the possession. What we talked about earlier, the Carolina style has had the run of play so far.
I think it's the pressure for sure and the nerves coming from Stanford's inexperience of being in the final.
McDonald tried to knot it forward. Jenkins cleans it up. Trying to find O'Hara rather up top. This is Tobin Heath. One of those 9 seniors that in their previous 2 national championship victories, they beat undefeated teams both last year and in 2006 to win the final. And of course, Casey Nagara right there, who just lost the ball, has been their clutch performer.
I That's just not the ball that Stanford wants to be playing. A straight ball, long to Kelly O'Hara's feet. You have so much speed when the North Carolina defense. Kelly O'Hara is obviously fast, but that's 1v3 on a 3-back defense. Stanford wants to keep the ball. The ball is going to skip from all the weather, settle it down. They just haven't settled it down quite yet.
And that goes back to what we were talking about, play the ball to somebody's feet instead of the space when it's a slick turf like this. Talking about possession for Stanford, they've only had it about 38% of the time through the first 10+ minutes here. And there you see it right there, Carolina really holding out.
And I'm guessing that Coach Ratcliffe from Stanford is saying, I want those two numbers switched. I want the 60% possession. Because when we were talking to Kristen Press, she said our possession is made to break the high pressure, and they just haven't broken it quite yet.
Jenkins out to Quan, and again the pass goes to the Tar Heels. Kristen Press over to Noyola, but Evelyn was right there waiting. Riley plays it back. McCann looking to go out wide. This is O'Hara. Lost it. And got it back. You see the relentless work ethic, though, of Kelly O'Hara trying to put her stamp on the match. The NCAA Men's College Cup is coming up next week in Cary, North Carolina. Coverage begins on Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. For more info on the 09 Men's College Cup, go to NCAA.com. It's the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. And the Tar Heel men will be there taking on Akron. And one semifinal, the other will be Virginia and Wake Forest. So a definite ACC feel to that finals.
Well, it's the second year in a row to have 3 ACC teams in the Men's College Cup final. So that's good for the ACC.
What a great time for soccer fans, huh? Of course, the World Cup draw was on Friday. We'll have a preview of the United States matches coming up at halftime with Bob Lee and the crew in the studio. But the United States will open things up against England next June 12th. And that certainly will garner an awful lot of attention.
I know, I can't wait. That's going to be one fun game to watch, just because obviously I'm cheering for the United States, but I watch so much English Premier League soccer on ESPN that I know all those players, so it's going to be very familiar territory for both me and both teams, obviously, so I'm excited.
From the opening kickoff to the final moments, we'll have all the matches for you in stunning high definition on the ESPN family of networks next summer. Carolina in blue. This is McDonald, who scored the goal in the 3rd minute to give the Tar Heels the 1-0 lead. Taking on the Stanford Cardinal in their home whites. They are undefeated at 25-0, looking for the program's first national championship. This is the first time they've been in the finals. Heath, as we continue to play in the rain here in College Station. Klingenberg. It's out wide with Noguera. Quan turned her back the other way, looking again to feed McDonald in front, but the Stanford D is right there.
Well, you can tell the Stanford defense is getting a little bit better when it comes to actually defending. They know where Jess McDonald is at all times. They have someone on her in between the ball and the player, and that's why Jess McDonald hasn't really gotten another touch since her goal.
That's a good example right there of what we talk about, playing the ball into space, and you could see how it just skated right away from the intended target and shot right out of bounds.
Well, this field is already fast, and so when you see this coming in, even before the rain, you're thinking, I don't want to play that long ball into space. Add the rain on top of that, and it's just going to be skidding like crazy. You have to play the ball to feet.
Watch that just whoop, skip, and take right off. Away from the Stanford player that was running down the flank. The folks here in Aguilan, by the way, did want us to make sure and tell all the folks watching at home, we had absolutely picture-perfect days on Thursday and Saturday here in town. Beautiful sunshine, And unfortunately on semifinal Friday, we had snow flurries, and now today the driving rain. But our friends here have done a terrific job in putting on this tournament.
As a player, not a fan, it's more fun to kind of play in different weather. As a fan, it's definitely not a lot of fun when it's freezing cold.
16th minute in this first half of the national championship. The Tar Heels looking for their program's 20th national title. And for this special senior class, it would be their third, all of them coming against undefeated teams in the final. And for the Stanford Cardinal, well, they want that perfect season to end with their first national championship. School records this year with their 25 wins. They've scored more goals than any other Stanford team. O'Hara and Press are rewriting the record books. They were the top scoring tandem in the NCAA this year. McDonald giving chase, and that will trickle over the end line. Her goal in the 3rd minute is the difference, assisted by Casey Noguera, as she got between a couple of defenders in the penalty area and redirected it on frame and in. Kelly O'Hara, by the way, for Stanford, is a player that will be joining you, Catherine, at the U.S. national team training camp right after this College Cup out in Southern California. And certainly a player to watch as we build up to the World Cup in 2 years.
I know, I think we're all out on a flight tonight to get there tomorrow, and I think some of the girls are running the beep test right now at practice, so I feel for them. But I'll be having to do that, I think, tomorrow, so I'm thinking about y'all if y'all are watching.
Of course, North Carolina's Tobin Heath is also in the national team pool and was a member of that 2008 gold medal winning team for the United States. The rip off the mark, but the long distance attempt coming from Teresa Noyola, the sophomore from Palo Alto, a former high school national player of the year who signed with the Cardinal.
This is what you want to see from Stanford, though. This is the first actual chance they've had. It's a long-range shot. Goes over the goal. If she were to put it low, that ball is just going to skip because of this weather. So at least they're getting a shot. Just do it a little bit lower next time.
Riley. Kristen Press. Immediately. Brooks is there. One of the 2 freshmen in the starting lineup tonight for North Carolina. Reminder that ESPN's Monday Night Football is coming your way with Green Bay and the Baltimore Ravens at 8:30 Eastern Monday night. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's at 7 Eastern. The Packers and the Ravens.
And Ray Rice is on my fantasy team, so I hope he has a great game.
Free kick coming up here for Kira Maker, Stanford.
I'd like to see Kira Maker right here play the ball to feet to maybe an outside back. Look at Rachel Kwan, closest to us on the left side of the field, because every time the ball gets played in there, it's just bouncing up and it doesn't play to Stanford's strengths.
Garcia Mendez pushing it forward, taken away by Carolina. This is Heath. Tobin already has 11 touches in this first half. When we talked about her significance, she's only scored 5 goals on the season, yet the respect for her was obvious in that semifinal when Notre Dame chose to man mark her in that match.
Well, she's so creative on the ball. Her skill level is, to me, second to none and no one. She just is able to keep the ball so close to her feet, it's hard for any defender to poke it away. And when she has 20-plus touches a half, that's when North Carolina is successful. And that's why Notre Dame did such a good job on Friday night, is they kept her below 20. And that's why when North Carolina didn't score until late in the semifinal match.
20th minute here in College Station. You're watching the NCAA Women's College Cup presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Beth Mowens along with Kat Whitehill, and it came quickly in the 3rd minute, Kat.
And Casey Noguera, this is just one of those crosses that is just perfect. Jess McDonald finds the space in between the 2 Stanford defenders and is able to finish.
McDonald tried to nod that one on. Jessica, the junior out of Glendale, Arizona, with her 9th goal of the season. She led the team in scoring for much of the year until Noguera got her Jones back, and Casey Noguera had 6 goals in the regular season. She's got 7 in the postseason, which includes the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament. And as we showed you at the beginning of the telecast, she has been Casey Clutch at the College Cup over the course of her career, including a couple of game-winning goals in the 06 final and the 08 final.
We finally saw Allie Riley get up front, the outside back for Stanford. She finally got up. She lost the ball, but she got up into a higher position, which is above the mid-stripe for an outside back. And that's what Stanford needs. They need her to get up, get the numbers forward, and outnumber the 3 defenders for North Carolina.
Noguera taken down. The foul will be called on Stanford, and a free kick coming up for the Tar Heels. Noguera scored in a similar situation in last year's championship match.
Well, Noguera does a good job of using her body, getting in between the defender and the ball, and there's nothing that Hillary Heath could really do except for foul her there, and this is a dangerous spot because Casey Noguera is excellent at free kicks from this range.
Noguera keeps it low, and the Tar Heels unable to run on, but it was deflected off the defender, so Rachel Given will take a corner kick.
Again, we need to look for Jess McDonald here, right here. This is her. Look at her. Find her on your screen because she's going to be important in these free kicks.
Given towards McDonald. Instead, it's off the head of Amber Brooks, just wide.
And there's a timeout on the field.
We've got a timeout in the action midway through the first half of our national championship match. Jessica McDonald scoring in the 3rd minute, and the Tar Heels are on top. Alicia Jenkins will take the free kick for Stanford. Whitney Engen heads it out of danger. It's oh so tough to break through that Tar Heel back line of Eveland, Engen, and Given. Eveland and Engen have been starting together for 4 years, the last 2 on that back line. And they have only allowed 12 goals all year. And a nice takeaway there by Given.
Well, that's great defending, and like we talked about in the coaching clinic, you can't give O'Hara any space to try and do anything, and Given did an excellent job of staying right on top of her, and that's why she was able to get the ball away.
Kelly O'Hara gets a touch. And ball again, they're trying to send it over the top, and nothing but blue jerseys and the keeper around it. Well, help us beat cancer with the V Foundation, proudly awarding 100% of your donation directly to fund cancer research. You can log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate today. As Jimmy V Week continues on the ESPN family of networks. And a substitution coming on for North Carolina. Anson Dorrance will probably be sending in quite a few players today. That's part of their high-pressure philosophy and getting fresh legs onto the field.
Well, Anson is known for substituting, and in the college game, you're allowed any amount of subs that you want, and he will use a ton because with high pressure comes some tired legs, especially in the end of the first half. He wants to rest them up so that they'll be ready for the second half.
They made 19 substitutions in their semifinal win against Notre Dame, and a couple here in the first half. Stanford has made the one substitution, bringing on Verlou.
And to put that in perspective, for World Cup play, you only get 3 subs the whole game, and Anson used 19. So put that in a little perspective for you.
Number 91, Maria Lebrano, the sophomore from High Point, North Carolina, now coming on for the Tar Heels. We are in the 31st minute, and it was the Jessica McDonald goal in the 3rd minute, assisted by Casey Noguera, that put the Tar Heels on top. And a member of this senior class that has already won 2 national championships. They beat an undefeated team in the '06 final. They beat an undefeated team in the '08 final last year, and are now trying to make it 3 for 3 against the undefeated Cardinal in the 2009 national championship match. Let's go back to that 3rd minute.
Well, again, Casey Noguera, a world-class striker and a world-class cross. And Jess McDonald does an excellent job of finding that space between the defenders, and that made her so dangerous, and that's why she was able to score it.
The Cardinal, the champions of the Pac-10 Conference, the best season in school history, with their All-America candidates, Kelly O'Hara and Kristen Kress. It's got to be awfully close to a done deal that Kelly O'Hara will win the Mac Herman Award as the National Player of the Year this season. I think everybody would be surprised if she didn't get it.
Well, I know I would be surprised, especially with the way that she's led this Stanford team to such a great record. So I know the semifinalists came out last week, and we'll see who wins, and Kelly O'Hara is definitely my front runner.
26 goals, 13 assists for 65 points. Started playing the game when she was just 4 years old, playing Muppet soccer.
I don't even know what that means. When she said it, I never heard that term.
It works when you're 4 years old, I guess.
I've heard of bunch ball. That's how I played 4-year-old soccer.
When you talk to her teammates, though, they talk about her fire, about her relentless work ethic, and they will look to call on that throughout the rest of this match as they are down a goal to the defending champion Tar Heels. Here is O'Hara with the ball. Klingenberg defending, and she forces the turnover. By the way, the next touch for Tobin Heath of Carolina would be her 20th, so that's a pretty good indicator that the Tar Heels are winning both the possession and the pressure battles.
Well, it's true. You want Tobin Heath to touch it at least 20 times. That's minimum for Tobin, and to get 20 touches for her, almost 20 with 12 minutes to go, I say it's pretty good for North Carolina.
Pass picked off by Garcia Mendez, one of 2 freshmen starting on the back line for the Cardinal. Their freshman class has been terrific for them this year. 4 of them in and out of the starting lineup. ESPN2 has 2 of the top programs in women's college basketball coming your way tonight. Number 17, Texas. Number 5, Tennessee. It's women's college basketball on ESPN2 tonight at 7 Eastern. 2 of the top coaches in the country going head-to-head with Pat Summitt and Gail Gustincourt.
I'm starting to wonder a little bit. Mariah Noguera, number 20 for Stanford, just came in the ball game, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe she was one of the other players who might have had that flu stomach issue, because she's so strong in the middle, and she played a lot of minutes in the semifinal match. I wonder if maybe she was one of them to only be playing the last 10 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, I thought we might see her a lot earlier. And just to update you once again, 6 players. Kelly O'Hara was the only name that the Stanford camp wanted to give us, understandably concerned about the health of their players, but they had stomach flu or virus-like symptoms yesterday, and the 6 didn't practice. But Noguera is finally out there now for Stanford.
And she's a target player for Stanford, and if they can get a corner kick, she can be very dangerous in this first half. along with marking players like Jess McDonald and Amber Brooks, and now Allie Hawkins, who's in there, all good headers for North Carolina. So she could be a difference maker for this Stanford team.
3 subs now for the Cardinal, 4 for North Carolina so far in the match. O'Hara trying to run onto space, Given chase. Given got there first, and she got pushed. The whistle will go against O'Hara. Tar Heels will get the kick. Under 10 minutes to go. No stoppage time in college soccer.
For North Carolina, free kick by number 16, Rachel Given.
There's Noguera in the air and a bit upset with herself there that she did not find O'Hara with that pass. But she is the newcomer of the year in the Pac-10 Conference. Coach Paul Ratcliffe says she's got a good brain for the game. A rookie out of Westminster, California. And along with Garcia Mendez and Rachel Kwan, the rookie class has made quite an impact. Alyssa Rich, a freshman from Cincinnati, making the run for North Carolina. This is Casey Noguera, assisted on the Tar Heel goal. Now Klingenberg with the left foot, couldn't get the hips around on it.
Well, if you're coming down the end line, you always want to turn your hips towards the players that you're going for, and Klingenberg, unfortunately, was turning her hips right to those stands that she played the ball into.
8.5 minutes to go, first half, national championship match. Whistle against Carolina.
Foul called on North Carolina.
Well, stay tuned to the second half as we'll be revealing the 2009 Lowe's Senior Class Award, which celebrates the loyalty of seniors that honor their 4-year commitment to their university and recognizes great achievement during competition and in the classroom. It'll be coming up in the second half. Noguera tried to nod that one on. The soccer championships, one of the 88 NCAA championships. I'll be off to volleyball. That's coming up next weekend. The Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, and then the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships in a couple of weekends down in Tampa. The ESPN family of networks will have the semis and the finals for you. And the ESPNU will have all the volleyball regionals next Saturday.
Well, that's unfortunate that you're indoors in Tampa, because that would have been a lot better weather than what we have right now.
That would have been a good place to play them outside on the beach. But if you have not seen the Penn State Nittany Lions, you might want to check them out. They are in the pursuit of a 3rd straight championship, and they're getting close to 100 wins in a row. Whistle will go against the Tar Heels. We've talked about who will win the battles of pressure and possession today. And for Tobin Heath, 21 touches in the first half. She doesn't have a shot, but she was a part of that goal with McDonald.
Well, and Tobin doesn't really need to shoot it too much, because she is the one that creates it for people to shoot. And so for her not to have a shot is not a big of a deal, but for her to have 20+ touches, that's a huge deal for North Carolina.
Meanwhile, Stanford, an opportunity, but the offside flag was up. Their best scoring chance of the day, and offsides called on the Cardinal. Verlew was in there along with O'Hara and Camille Levin.
That's the danger, though, of just crossing the ball anywhere near the goal frame. It can skip, it can bounce, and it's a great cross, and all these players from Stanford are coming onto it, and nobody touched it, and it goes in the goal. Unfortunately, it looks like Verlew is the one that's offside. I can't really tell from that angle, but it looks like she might have been offsides. I didn't see when the ball was played. But again, here it is again. She plays a great ball. Yeah, it looks like she's standing offsides, didn't really pay attention to where the North Carolina defenders were, and that's a good call by the referee. But play the ball near the goal, because with this weather, anything can happen. No one touched the ball, and it went right into the back of the net.
They still have just the one shot so far in the match for a team that scored 80 goals on the year and set a new Cardinal record. So the Tar Heels maintain the 1-0 advantage as we approach the 5-minute mark now in the first half. Noguera to Heath, tried to get it back to Noguera. Casey staying down, injured right now. Klingenberg trying to get to the end line, and the Tar Heels will have a corner kick.
Well, she does a great little flick on to Tobin, and then gets hit a little bit. I think she was just trying to stay down to be a little dramatic. That's kind of what it looked like to me. Good no call by the referee.
Given will take the corner kick.
Here they're aiming for number 76, Allie Hawkins.
Cardinal again able to win it in the air. Played over the touchline by O'Hara. Fourth corner kick, by the way, for North Carolina right there. Stanford has yet to earn one.
Well, you can see Kelly O'Hara just passing by, and you just look at her uniform, and it's green and brown from all the sliding and getting tackled and tackling people. And it's nice to see, as coming from a defender's perspective, it's nice to see a forward looking like that, because normally the defender is looking a little bit ugly because we're the ones that are making the tackles, but to see a forward come back and help out our defense, that's always something encouraging to see.
Foot race there, won by the Cardinal. Now Kwan up to Kristen Press. She's got O'Hara, who has to get herself back into an onside position and doesn't do it. Let's get you updated on possession time. Once again, this is supposed to be the Stanford domain. This is their game plan, and right now, the Tar Heels are winning that battle, and much of the Stanford possession is actually not in the top third of the field.
Well, the high pressure from North Carolina is one of the main reasons why they're not keeping very good possession. But I think another big reason is because of this field, the surface is not conducive to any type of possession. And Stanford, what little they have to play to feet, and they're not doing that either. They're playing way too many balls to space, and that's why they're only possessing it 40% of the time. And most is what you're seeing right now, in the back, playing it around, nothing too dangerous for North Carolina.
And when you can play it to feet, you've got the ability to control the ball. When you're playing it into space, that essentially means you're counting on the turf to try and slow it down. And when it's slick like this, it's not going to do it. As you can see right there, it takes a couple of skips. The rain has let up a little bit here as we play out the final minutes of the first half. Camille Levin, looking to touch wide. The shot skids right to Ashlyn Harris, but that's the idea. Keep it low and try and utilize the wet grass.
Well, that's a good job by Ashlyn Harris to get her whole body behind it, because as a goalkeeper, you need everything with this type of weather and skipping. And if that ball had been shot a little bit harder, it would have been made a little bit more difficult for the goalkeeper, Ashlyn Harris from North Carolina.
Final 2 minutes of the first half. Casey Noguera pulls the trigger from way out, and a corner kick for the Tar Heels. They got the Jessica McDonald goal in the 3rd minute, assisted by Noguera and Heath, and this will now be the 5th corner kick for the Tar Heels.
And right here, Allie Hawkins, look for her.
There's Hawkins, got it! Save Maker! They found the target and she got it on frame, and Maker came up big.
It's a great ball by Rachel Given, a good corner kick. Allie Hawkins does an excellent job of timing it right, using her defender to help her get up a little bit higher. And if you can do that without the referee seeing, it's smart play by Allie Hawkins from North Carolina.
Given looking went for Hawkins again, and Nogueira was there in the air. Final minute, first half, national championship. And that actually ricocheted off of O'Hara, so here comes another corner kick. The Tar Heels will hustle to get it off. This is their 7th of the half. Stanford has not taken any. Hawkins redirects, but off frame.
That's another good corner kick from Rachel Given, number 16 of North Carolina. And Allie Hawkins, number 76 from North Carolina, did a great job of finding herself free on the back post. Unfortunately, she didn't do what she has been taught for years and years, to put the ball back to where it came from, low far post.
3, 2, 1. That's the end of the first half. Our score, North Carolina 1, Stanford nothing.
Jessica McDonald with the goal, assisted by Nogueira and Heath. It came back in the 3rd minute. And the Tar Heels head into the locker room with the 1-0 lead over undefeated Stanford. Halftime here of our national championship match, 1-0. Jessica McDonald celebrating her goal that has the Tar Heels on top. Welcome back to the NCAA Women's College Cup, presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Jessica McDonald with a goal for North Carolina. They have the lead 1-0 over undefeated Stanford. Let's take a look at those first half highlights, including the McDonald tally.
Well, Casey Nogueira does a world-class cross to Jessica McDonald, running on, and here it is again. Jessica McDonald does a great job of finding the space between the two defenders, and that's why she was able to finish it on the frame. And well, here's some physical play. Both of these teams, you can tell, really want to win this game, and players are falling everywhere, fouls are flying. The referee is actually doing a great job of keeping things intact, but not calling too many fouls. I like what he's doing.
Let's take a look at the Coke Zero game track. We've talked about how North Carolina needs to get pressure. Look at the advantage in shots on goal and in corner kicks. And we also talked about how Stanford needed to have the possession in their favor, and that was definitely not the case in the first 45 minutes. 2/3 of the Cardinal goals scored this year have come in the second half. They have that ability to try and wear teams down and break them down. Look at that, including a goal in the second half in the semis, and then the Kristen Press golden goal in overtime in the semifinal. One change too for the Cardinal. They will start Mariah Nogueira in the midfield here in this second half.
I think Coach Ratcliffe realized what a presence she brings to Stanford, and maybe he was resting her in the first half for this whole second half. Maybe she was sick, we're not sure, but now she's in there, she's a presence, and North Carolina really has to key on her, especially on set pieces.
Free kick coming up for Carolina. Casey Nogueira will take it. She scored a goal in last year's championship match on a free kick. Nogueira keeps it low. The ricochet cleared out and off of the 6 by Allie Riley.
Casey Nogueira does a good job of keeping it low. It looks like she was shooting there. I think I would have preferred to maybe cross it in. You have such great headers. And Amber Brooks, 22 for North Carolina, and Jessica McDonald, number 47 for North Carolina.
McDonald with the throw-in, and it's a short one. But you could hear Kira Maker, the goalkeeper, telling her defense to set up as if it was a corner kick, because McDonald is usually very good at long throw-ins.
Well, she's very good, and I think it's kind of slipping a little bit in this weather.
Lucy Bronze settles, shoots, and misses wide right.
You can see Jessica McDonald's wiping her hands on her sleeves, trying to get some traction on the ball, but when it's wet, there's not much you can do about the ball in your hands, and so it's going to be hard to get a really good throw on the ball.
That long throw-in can be such a weapon for Carolina. She said yesterday at the press conference she learned how to do that as a youngster playing basketball, and obviously the ball is heavier than all the chest passes, and the overhead passes that she made in basketball made her much better at the throw-in with the lighter soccer ball as she switched careers.
And she said it all of a sudden just came to her, like she had always had the throw and she just never knew she had it. But I think a lot of it also has to do with some strength.
Pretty initial spin move by Nogueira, then taken off the play. Good defense by Stanford. Can the Cardinal get Kelly O'Hara and Kristen Press more involved in this second half? They're two All-America candidates. And the best combo in the country this year. One or the other has scored a goal in 21 of their 25 matches.
Well, Nogueira there does a great job of just keeping her balance, and a lot of times as an athlete, balance is so important and you don't really think of it, but working on your core and just working on your balance, that way you can stay up on your feet and keep the ball going, which is exactly what Casey Nogueira did there.
Tobin Heath gets her first touch of this second half, or actually already 3 for Tobin in the early going. Played in front, Heath. Tried to scoot by a defender. Brooks to Bronze, Lucy Bronze, who had the assist in the semis, and that one played at Maker.
We've been talking a lot about the high pressure of North Carolina being a key for North Carolina and the possession for Stanford being the key. I think in this second half, what we really need to look for is can Allie Riley and can Rachel Cron, the two outside backs for Stanford, can they get forward? They've been possessing the ball in their own defensive half. Can we see them getting in line even, getting to the 18 and making some crosses? That will really help Kristen Press, Kelly O'Hara, and Lindsay Taylor up front. That way they can have more numbers and outnumber the 3 in the back for North Carolina.
As it has been a phenomenal season numbers-wise. I mean, you know, when you think about Stanford soccer, you think about players like Julie Foudy and Sarah Raffinelli, 2 of their all-time greats. And the numbers for O'Hara and Press this year, better even than Foudy. Now, Julie wasn't a major goal scorer. She was usually the playmaker, but nonetheless, it gives you a little perspective about how good these 2 have been this year.
Well, she might not have been the best goal scorer at the national level, but I bet you she was a great goal scorer for Stanford, so it's impressive.
Here is Press. She's got O'Hara in the middle, and for Stanford, it's first corner kick of the match. All
right, here we're going to be looking for Mariah Nogueira. She's getting in there. She's getting a little bit late, but here she comes. You can see her raising her arm to look for her.
Harris got a hand on it, and it popped over the top of the crossbar, but Nogueira was very close.
Well, that's what Stanford wants to see. They want to see Nogueira get into the battle, and Ashlyn Harris from North Carolina does a good job of putting the pressure on her. That's why it goes over. But Mariah Nogueira is the one that gets in there, and with such a great presence, you want to find her the ball, and I think that's why she's starting in the second half.
The Pac-10 Newcomer of the Year, making her presence felt here in our national championship match. Kwan, back to Jenkins, and now Garcia Mendez to Nogueira in the midfield, looking to build. Pass goes through to Eveland, and the ricochet to Riley. Pushing up the left flank, Riley's cross. Trying to find the foot of Press, broken up by Given. And the sliding tackle and the stoppage in play as McDonald goes down hard, and the official really over in the ear of Kelly O'Hara. No card issued.
Jess McDonald gets in front of O'Hara. O'Hara definitely gets a cleat onto Jess McDonald's, looks like her right foot right there. Yeah, it definitely looks like it's a cleat to the to the foot, and that never feels good. You just kind of have to walk it off, and that's probably why you're hearing the pain and agony coming out of Jessica McDonald's mouth. But you know, as much as that's a foul, I love seeing Kelly O'Hara track back. She wants this game. She wants to win it. It's her senior year, and you just hate to see anybody get hurt from a tackle, but you like to see the physical play. I think Jessica McDonald's going to be all right.
Yep, and a very fine line, too. You've always got to be careful on trying to take somebody down from behind as opposed to coming at them or coming from the side. That's when the cards start coming out.
Well, I think there's no yellow card in this situation because you're in the offensive third for Stanford. Had it been more in the defensive third, and it would have been a yellow. Had it been the last defender, that would have been an automatic red, and Kelly O'Hara would have been out of the game. So it is a very, very dangerous tackle, and she has to, you know, remember that and not do it again.
Given with the restart, they waited for McDonald to get up into this penalty area. The ricochet, Evelyn. Stanford trying to apply some of its own high pressure. Settled by Courtney Jones, the sophomore out of Danville, California. Played back to Harris. Noguera tried to turn it over to Riley and too much on it.
I think North Carolina is doing a very good job right now of actually playing Stanford's game, keeping the ball on the ground, finding people's feet, not really finding the space too much because they realize the field and the weather and how it's going to affect them. And I think right now they're doing a really good job of trying to keep the ball on the ground. It's going to pop up, but they're trying their best to keep it on the ground so they can possess a little bit better.
It's been raining all day. The field is draining very well, but certainly the grass is slick. We've seen the ball skipping and skidding. Off the head of Bronze, and Riley will be able to get to it for Stanford. Cleaned up by Evelyn. And a throw in for the Cardinal. They are really trying to pick up the pace here. Looking for the equalizer.
Well, what I like there, that's twice for Allie Riley that she's been able to get forward.
O'Hara able to turn on it. We saw in the Home Depot coaching clinic and in the semifinals on Friday that she doesn't need a whole lot of space to turn and burn.
She really doesn't need a whole lot of space. She does a good job of trying to find a little bit. North Carolina actually does a much better job of getting to her, not allowing any kind of easy shot. And you can tell by how the shot goes up, she was leaning back, and that's why she didn't get it on frame.
Reminder about ESPN's Monday Night Football coming up at 8:30 Eastern on Monday with Green Bay and Baltimore. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. And the whistle goes against the Tar Heels, and now a free kick for the Cardinal. Hillary Heath will take it. Noguera again will be a target. McDonald is actually defending on her. Punched out by Harris. Noguera over to O'Hara. Trying to get it back to Casey and across midfield. Already we're seeing a different Stanford team. They have controlled the possession here early in this second half.
I'm just getting a little sense of confidence coming out of the half. They seem to be getting the ball, playing possession, finding their outside backs. Allie Riley's gotten up front twice, close to the end line to get a pretty good cross in. She caused a corner on one of them. They're just finding what they're good at, and they're finally playing the way that they've been playing all year.
The Cardinal have been sensational in the second half all season long. About 2/3 of their goals coming after they've returned from the locker room, and this is O'Hara again, pushing it wide. Back to Levin, broken up by Tobin Heath. Noguera gonna let it rip, blocked by Whitney Engen. Throw in for North Carolina, but they will probably give it right back to the Cardinal. They knocked it out so that Tobin Heath could get some attention. She's the injured Tar Heel.
She's doing a great job of keeping the ball. Ouch. It looks like Levin stepped right on her foot, and that's why she went down right on top, and that's where all the bones are, and it's just cracking. And when you have cleats on, you just get a really good step on her. Hopefully it's nothing too dangerous and she'll be able to walk it off. Kind of like the similar thing with Jessica McDonald on a foul, and it looks like she just got her good and she's walking it off.
So Heath, a member of the U.S. national team, she appears to be okay. She'll stay in the match. By the way, we have heard from Julie Foudy, the Stanford alum, and here's what Julie had to say about this championship match. It'd be the ultimate dream after all the years of abuse she's taken from former Tar Heels on the national team, that she would be able to send some abuse their way for once if the Cardinal can bring home the championship for the first time in school history.
She has received a lot of abuse. I'll be one to fight for that.
The penalty and the card going against the Tar Heels. Outside the area. And it's Klingenberg whistled for the trip.
Yeah, Klings just gets a little clip on the back of Verlew here. She's trying to track back from her, and Verlew has some long legs, and looks like Megan Klingenberg kind of got a little clip. And when you're running back like that and Verlew has all that momentum, I think Megan Klingenberg definitely deserved the yellow card there.
Heath will take the kick from just outside the area. Right in front, Harris got a piece of it and blasted out by Bronze.
I have really been impressed with Ashlyn Harris today. She's made 3 big saves coming off of her line. Her range out there is showing why she's been in the national team pool and why she's one of the best goalkeepers in the country.
The counterattack, Alyssa Rich. Now Bronze. Misguided on that attempt, a goal kick coming up. We've talked about the Carolina pressure and the Stanford possession as the keys to this match. We've seen plenty of pressure from the Tar Heels, but look at the change for Stanford in the time of possession. They are now possessing it more in the second half than Carolina has.
Well, it looks to me like the North Carolina pressure is actually tired. The 3 players up front look a little tired, not really running after the ball too much, and that's why Stanford's doing a much better job of possessing it.
Nancy Dorrance, who likes to go to the substitutions, perhaps may need to consider doing it even sooner if this continues to play out this way.
Well, I was kind of surprised that he never subbed Casey Noguera out of the first half, and I'm guessing that she's pretty used to coming out, getting a little bit of a break right before half. I know she's a very fit player.
Press will let it go high over the crossbar.
But when you have that high pressure, it's always hard to keep that up for 90 minutes. It's hard at any level.
And the key change, of course, in the second half, you can re-enter if you have been substituted out.
Press does a good job here of getting the long-range shots. She has an excellent long-range shot, as we saw in the semifinals, where she scored the winning goal. But right there, Stanford just isn't getting over the ball. And when you're leaning back, when you're shooting, that's when the ball goes over. And for Stanford, they have to focus on getting over the ball, because that's when it's going to be low, that's when the ball will skip, and it'll make things a lot more difficult on Ashlyn Harris, the goalkeeper for North Carolina.
The NCAA Men's College Cup will be in Cary, North Carolina next weekend, starting on Friday, December 11th, with coverage at 5 Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the 09 Men's College Cup, go to ncaa.com. It's the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. Virginia and Wake Forest in one semi, North Carolina and undefeated Akron in the other men's semi. That's coming up next weekend. And then the women's volleyball championships on the ESPN family of networks the following weekend down in Tampa. Great time of year for college sports fans. And Cardinal have gotten a few opportunities here in the second half. McDonald gave the Tar Heels the early lead in the 3rd minute, and it has held so far.
I can hear assistant coach from North Carolina, Bill Palladino, screaming, up, up, up. He's trying to get all the pressure up, and the high pressure comes from the 3 in the back. If they push up, the midfielders push up, which means the forwards push up. And right now he's screaming up because the high pressure just isn't there for North Carolina.
Press was offside on that play. They've been offsides 4 times. North Carolina dominated the statistics in the first half, but Stanford doing a much better job on the possession here in the second half. Evelyn, that's been a terrific matchup with her and O'Hara up on the left side.
I think the nice thing for Evelyn is that she has the speed, and so she can get a little bit closer to O'Hara because she's not as afraid of the speed beating her. And that's why it's been such a good battle between Kelly O'Hara, number 19 for Stanford, and Christy Evelyn, number 32 for North Carolina.
And Evelyn and Engen have been back there together for the last 2 years. They've been starting for the Tar Heels the last 4 years. Engen making the move back from the midfield. They will be a tough nut to crack for the Cardinal. Klingenberg trying to push forward, taken away. Brown's pass redirected. Riley has some time. And she was bumped by Courtney Jones, whistled for the foul.
That was a little football-esque bump, and I think Courtney Jones, number 84 for North Carolina, gets that from her dad, Brent Jones, who played for the 49ers. So she has a little experience from that.
Riley with Bronze giving chase. Ailey Riley put a smile on your face the other day, Catherine, when she is a converted defender. Said she was promoted back to defense when Stanford made the move a couple years ago. You, of course, a former All-American defender yourself.
Well, it's definitely a promotion in my opinion, because I did the same thing. I used to be a forward, promoted to be a defender.
Time now to look at our Lowe's Senior Class Award winner. The 09 winner of the Lowe's Senior Class Award is Texas A&M's Emily Peterson. She's maintained a 3.9 grade point average in finance, and she led the Aggies to the NCAA tournament this year, reaching the Sweet 16. During the NCAA, she scored a goal and added an assist. Congratulations to her, the Lowe's Senior Class Award winner. And already the Tar Heels, as we anticipated, have made a couple of substitutions. Brooks now has gone out, and Allie Hawkins has come on. It's been a pretty good weekend in Aggieland as Noguera puts it over the top. The A&M volleyball team upset LSU in the second round to move on to the Sweet 16 next weekend. They've been terrific hosts for us this weekend.
I've been impressed mainly with this field to hold up in all the weather they've been having, and I mean, it's in great condition considering snow and rain and just cold.
Jones has some space off the head of Rich. Jones, her cross, cleared out. McDonald is not in the match right now, so she won't be there for the long throw-in. Bronze will take it. Lucy's a member of the English national team. Ricochets off Noguera, and here comes a corner kick.
And without Jessica McDonald in here and Amber Brooks, let's look for number 76, Allie Hawkins. She got a pretty good opportunity in the first half. We'll see if she can get one in this half.
Lebrano checks in for North Carolina on the far post now. Chested out by Nogueira, and O'Hara on the run. Nogueira turns her around. Kelly O'Hara. The anticipation is she will be the Mack Herman Award winner as the National Player of the Year. Trying to help her Cardinal get the tying goal.
You can just see how dangerous Stanford is there. Getting Rachel Kwan up front, an outside back for Stanford. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to keep possession of the ball, but she was up front. That gives Stanford so much more space on the outside, which gives Kelly O'Hara and Kristen Press and Lindsay Taylor space to work in the middle of the field.
Approaching the midway point to another timeout coming up here in a couple of minutes so that the coaches can make some adjustments. 15 substitutions in the semifinal for the Tar Heels against Notre Dame. 7 today with more to come. All a part of their high pressure system of play to get fresh legs on and keep the pressure on the opposition.
To ask anyone to play in this high-pressure system as a forward for 90 minutes is a very difficult task, and I know that a lot of the forwards on this team wish they could play all 90, but Anson knows how important this system is with high pressure, and that's why he has to keep the subs going, and in the second half you can come in and out as you want, and that helps a lot in this system.
Lebrano slides it over Nogueira, got a twister on it, saved by Maker. That one had all kinds of English.
Well, Maria Lebrano does a good job of finding Casey Nogueira. And Casey Nogueira does a pretty good job of shooting a one-touch shot on frame. What I would have liked to have seen instead is she was 1v1 with her defender. If she had just taken a touch, she could have beaten her. She's so crafty on the ball. She could have beaten her defender and probably gotten a much better shot on goal. But fortunately for Stanford, it wasn't great. It was easy for Kira Maker just to handle the ball.
5 goals in this NCAA tournament for Nogueira, including the game winner in the semis. She has been unbelievable over the course of her College Cup career for North Carolina. 4 game-winning goals in her 5 matches in the College Cup coming into today, and she assisted on the goal in the first half. This is Nogueira with the ball at her feet. Trying to chip it up to Rich. Throwing Tar Heels. Nogueira.
I'm on your right, I'm on your right.
She'll launch it from deep, trying to get a skip.
And that's Casey Nogueira for you. She'll just shoot from anywhere, and for most forwards, that's normally a cross, but she decides to shoot it, and it's not very dangerous for Stanford, and I know that Stanford's probably thinking, we'd rather you shoot from there than right in front of our goal, so they were pretty happy with that result.
This is the break midway through the second half. North Carolina leading 1-0. Going for that 20th national championship. The Cardinal seeking their first. They've had some opportunities here in the second half. One to nothing, North Carolina leading Stanford in our national championship match. A part of Jimmy V Week on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation for Cancer Research in tribute to Jim Valvano and his dream to defeat cancer. The goal in the first half from Jessica McDonald holding up so far. 22.5 minutes to play, and Anson Dorrance, the head coach for the Tar Heels, joining us. Anson, what was your advice to the team during the timeout?
Just now, we've got to weather the rest of the Stanford storm. They're coming after us. We got to figure out a way to weather it and try to ride this sucker out.
Well, it seems like there's not as much high pressure as there was in the first half. Is that because the legs are a little bit tired?
Yeah, Kat, you know, you played for us. I mean, after a while, you just can't sprint anymore. We've hit that stage. The front runners just can't work any harder, and we're running out of juice. So let's see how much longer we can hang on.
All right, thank you very much, Anson Dorrance, the head coach for the Tar Heels. Jessica McDonald with the goal in the 3rd minute to give Carolina the lead. The possession in the second half has been about even, which is a big improvement for Stanford. And they have had a couple of scoring chances trying to get the equalizer, but right now the corner kick to the Tar Heels, that's their 9th to just 1 so far for Stanford.
In this angle for Rachel Given, number 16 for North Carolina, taking the corner kick is very difficult because she's taking it with her right foot. So it's not, instead of it bending into the goal, it's bending out of the goal. So it's really hard to read, and it's really hard to get a really good cross on it.
Rich tried to turn on it. Another deflection. Heath playing it back, and O'Hara's got it. Evelyn breaks it up, and O'Hara is going to get carded for this one. She slammed into Evelyn. And some words from Whitney Engen coming to the aid of her teammate for O'Hara.
Well, Evelyn does a great job of stepping in front of the ball, and unfortunately Kelly O'Hara just had too much momentum to stop, and that's definitely a yellow card because it's a little bit reckless. And you can tell that Whitney Engen from North Carolina is trying to defend her defenders, and as a center back myself, that's how I do it. And as you could just see right there, is another great opportunity for North Carolina on corner kicks.
Hawkins into the area. Before that kick, O'Hara did go over to Evelyn, and the two made up. So now press on the counter. Played back forward by Lucy Bronze. Settled by Taylor, nice turn on it. Cardinal are onside. Verlew giving chase. Hawkins now out to Noguera. This is Taylor again, looking for some space. Heath is on her. Through 3 jerseys, she's able to keep it. Sliding it through the press. O'Hara wants them to change fields and come to the left.
Lindsay Taylor didn't play the whole first part of the second half, so she's going to have some fresh legs. Playing in that attacking center mid role, she can really help this 3 front from Stanford pressing on, as they've only got 20 minutes to try and tie up North Carolina.
Taylor, an all-Pac-10 team performer. There's the Stanford Cardinal, 25-0. It's the 12th time that a team has come to the College Cup without a loss and without a tie. And those undefeated teams, of the previous 11, only 4 of them have won the championship. The other 7 were unable to complete the perfect season in the 28-year history of this tournament. Nice move by Rich with the touch by one defender. Looking to get by another. The left footer. Corner kick, Carolina. Good rush by the freshman from Cincinnati.
Alyssa Rich from North Carolina makes really good decisions there, taking her defender 1v1. But Elena Garcia-Mendez from Stanford does an excellent job keeping her feet and making sure that Alyssa Rich doesn't get a good cross on. It might have resulted in a corner kick, but Garcia-Mendez does the right thing.
9 more corner kicks, 10 more shots today for Carolina than Stanford. And the official heading over to the sideline. Corey Rockwell getting a shin guard on for Allie Hawkins.
That was very nice of him to run over for her, as she's probably tired.
Low corner, played through and all the way across the face of the goal and out. Carolina unable to jump on it.
That's not the corner kick that they were probably hoping for, but what a dangerous corner kick that was. It slipped right by everyone. Here it is, the low line drive right into the middle of the box, and everyone from North Carolina and Stanford missed it. Had a North Carolina player even gotten a slight touch on it, it probably would have gone into the goal.
Cardinal making a substitution now. Camille Levin is in. Rachel Kwong goes out. She can return.
That's an interesting substitute. I think Camille Levin being a forward mainly, they're trying to press UNC as they know they've only got 18 minutes left.
Wide to Rich. Noguera is there to help. Casey Noguera had it knocked loose. Good hustle by Stanford to get there first. And Hawkins continues to have some trouble with the shin guard. She's picking it up off the ground again. O'Hara wins it in the air to press. Looking to get it back outside O'Hara, but Engen is there to turn it away. Terrific play by Whitney Engen, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. And look out, that's another yellow to O'Hara, and she's gone. 2 yellow cards for the leading candidate for National Player of the Year honors, and she is sent off. And the Cardinal will have to finish the game a player down.
I mean, you know, you love to see a person come back, but to me that's an obvious yellow card. It's not a red. But when you're going at someone's leg, that didn't even look like she was going for the ball. And after the previous play of Christy Evelyn going straight for her body, and this one, unfortunately for Kelly O'Hara, that's definitely a yellow card. And you just hate to see that, because what a great player. You want to see her finish this game because you want to give Stanford a chance to tie it up. They can still do it, but it's going to be a lot harder now.
2 yellows in the second half equals the red, and O'Hara is sent off. And now Stanford will have to finish the match with just 10 players.
Well, what a calmness presence that Whitney Engen, number 9 from North Carolina, brings. It was a smart play. It looked like she was going to go back to the goalkeeper. She decides to bring it out, not put the pressure there with the field being so slick. Because of her calmness, she was able to dribble out, and that's what forced Kelly O'Hara to foul her. And it's just a little bit of frustration coming from Kelly O'Hara.
And the senior has to be aware in that situation already with the yellow not to take any chances. Under 17 minutes to play. Can the rest of the Cardinal come to her aid? Engen and Eveland, along with Gibbon. Heath in the midfield. Now Riley. Press. She'll launch. Save Harris.
That's a great shot from Kristen Press. It also, what it does to the Stanford team, and gives them confidence. Look at this shot. It's fantastic. Ashton does a great job of not trying to control it, just punching it out, coming right back to her. But now Stanford knows, hey, we can still get shots on them. We might only have 10 men, but we have some great forwards and defenders that will keep us in this ball game. They can still come back and tie it. They just have to work a little bit harder.
Press is being very vocal right now as well with her teammates, urging them on. Just after the red card, you heard Paul Ratcliffe say, hey, we'll have to play with just 2 up top. And right now, that's Press and Taylor.
I don't think that's going to last very long, though, because we're getting to 15 minutes left in this game. And you just have to put everyone up top. Put everyone there, because what do you got to lose? If North Carolina scores another one, at least you were trying. And I think you're going to see 3, maybe 4 go up top, and maybe just 2 in the back for Stanford at one point.
Looks like Courtney Verlew, the freshman from Tualatin, Oregon, has already started that push forward. Out of bounds off of Levin and out. Let's take you back to the first half and the difference right now in the match.
Well, Casey Noguera is a world-class player, and she sends in this ball, and Jess McDonald finds the open space. And it's every defender's nightmare when a forward finds that space in between each other. Miscommunication leads to a goal scored by Jessica McDonald.
Sterling Smith into the lineup for the Tar Heels, number 22, Amber Brooks.
The other big news is McDonald looking to strike again is the red card to National Player of the Year candidate Kelly O'Hara, sent off in the 73rd minute for accumulating the 2 yellows. And they are only playing with 10 players. Heath, the bouncer, to make her.
And it looks like North Carolina knows that they're playing with 10 players, and now they've put 2 midfielders at defensive position, one being Tobin Heath at the attacking, and only 2 players up front in Casey Noguera and Jessica McDonald. So North Carolina is now playing for this victory as they're up 1-0.
Noguera as McDonald tried to slide it through for Jessica. She makes the shot and oh, just missed it wide right. She wants that one back.
She definitely wants that one back because she had a wide open goal. She just decided to do it too quickly. She should have just calmed herself in the box. She had plenty of time and space, and what a great ball by Casey Noguera.
And here comes Press the other way. She's got Verlew in the middle. Kristen Press, she'll launch. The deflection goes to Heath. Noguera. Lubrano trying to run on in a foot race with Riley. Eveland is there. And approaching 13 minutes to play. The Tar Heel seniors closing in on a 3rd championship trophy. If the score holds, they will have beaten an undefeated team in the final on all 3 occasions. And what a senior class it is with the 9 seniors. And Anson Dorrance told us yesterday at the press conference, it was a group worth waiting for. He said he was watching a tournament 6 years ago, and the U16 team was, he thought, more talented than the U17s. And he said, you know what, we're going to take a risk, and we're going to save up as much money as we can for scholarships for the younger players, this senior class. And boy, has it paid off. They missed out on the College Cup the year before they arrived. And then Noguera and Heath and company won the 06 championship with 7 freshmen on the field that year. They came back to win another one last season and are now closing in on a 3rd. Unless the Cardinal can get the equalizer and offsides, the call on Stanford.
Stanford called for offside.
Well, this senior class has some world-class players, that's for sure, in Tobin Heath and Casey Noguera. A lot of them are seeing some national team call-ups and everything, and you can see why Anson decided to take that risk on that U16 team.
5 times offside for Stanford. Under 11 and a half to play. The Cardinal trying to tie it up to keep the perfect season alive. They're 25-0. Noguera, left footer, no good. But it ricocheted off the defender, and Carolina can spend some time here off the clock before taking the corner kick.
It's interesting to me that North Carolina is actually getting more shots now. They only have 2 up front than when they had 3, but I think the reason is 10 men for Stanford as being one of them, and then obviously Stanford's having to push forward a whole lot. So North Carolina's had some pretty good opportunities right now.
And a warning from the official to North Carolina to speed up the pace of play. That one will scoot all the way through to Tobin Heath. She'll chip it back in front. Noguera heads it out. Heath back to get it. Christy Eveland for North Carolina. Can they add another one to the dynasty? 19 NCAA titles. Let's go back to a moment ago there and McDonald's opportunity on the feed from Noguera.
One of these many chances North Carolina has been getting lately. Casey Noguera splits the 2 defenders. Jessica McDonald makes a great run. Look at that, splitting both defenders. If only she had just kind of taken a deep breath. There was a Stanford defender running after her, but I still think she had more time than she thought, and she rushed it, and that's why she pushed it wide.
Engen beach press to the ball, but Verlew's got it now for Stanford. Under 10 to play. North Carolina with possession. And the 1-0 lead on the Jessica McDonald goal in the 3rd minute. For the Stanford Cardinal, they are playing a man down after their National Player of the Year candidate, Kelly O'Hara, picked up her 2nd yellow card of the match in the 73rd minute. The Tar Heels looking for their 20th NCAA title. The Cardinal coming into this one undefeated, looking for its first.
And what you're going to see from both of these teams is for North Carolina, they're just going to be playing the ball forward. You're going to see a lot more direct, play it to the corners, waste as much time, and take no risk in the back. But for Stanford, I'm looking right now, and they only have 2 in the back, maybe 3 with Rachel Kwan, keeping going forward. They're going to have 3 up top. It's going to be high pressure from Stanford now, while UNC is going to take no risk and just keep getting it out of the back of their defensive third.
And they will continue to get fresh legs into the match. The substitutions are waiting again over on the sideline. North Carolina's already used 7 in this half alone. Anson Dorrance actually took Nogueira off for a moment to catch her breath, and now it looks like Casey will return with Megan Klingenberg. Help us beat cancer with the V Foundation, proudly awarding 100% of your donation directly to fund cancer research. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate today. This is Nogueira with Bronze, playing with one more player on the field. Casey unable to track it down. Under 8 minutes to go in the finals. McDonald right now with the game winner. For a Tar Heel team that has faced its ups and downs this year, they actually lost 3 matches in ACC play, and they lost back-to-back games for the first time in nearly a decade against what Anson Dorrance has called the toughest schedule that his team has ever played. And it has certainly battle-tested them for the College Cup. Today is the 9th top 10 opponent they have seen this year.
And you can tell the experience from playing those teams is really helping North Carolina, because even when they went up early, they didn't let it affect them. They've still played the way that they know how to play, and it just allowed them to keep this 1-0 lead for most of this whole game.
Again, they're trying to work some of that clock down to 6:45 to play. No stoppage time in college soccer. Knotted on by Jones. Scoots through to Engen. To Eveland. No Carolina teammates have started more matches together than Engen and Eveland in the history of the program. Trying to help send each other out with another national championship. 6 minutes to go in the final.
And watch for Whitney Engen. She's a leader of this back line, but she is limping pretty badly. She's had some ankle problems, and I'm just watching her walk, and she seems to be in a lot of pain. But I think as a senior, she's like, I've only got 6 minutes left. I'm going to play through the pain, and it's not going to matter. I'm just going to make sure to get that ball out of there.
Stanford has now brought Allie Riley up to an attacking position from her left back position. Press trying to get through the traffic. Gets the throw in.
Well, you're bringing a senior leader up there, someone who's skilled, who's played in World Cup matches, Olympic matches, and when you put a player like her up there, she's going to put high pressure on the North Carolina defense. She's going to bring a different aspect to the Stanford offense that North Carolina hasn't seen all game. It's going to be interesting to see what she can do in these last 5 minutes.
(25-0). They've trailed 5 times all year, and they've come back to win them all. They've got under 5 minutes to work with and playing with one less player on the field. Their possession in this second half has dipped under 50% as the pressure from North Carolina has won out thus far, and Riley got kicked on that play. The foul against the Tar Heels.
Foul called on North Carolina.
Well, I don't think Stanford's too worried about possession anymore. They just want to play direct style soccer, get the ball up into their attacking third, so that it puts the pressure on the North Carolina defense.
Jenkins will take the free kick right on the midfield line. Chips it in, headed out by Given. Heath. Looking for Noguera, the nice touch over to Jones. It's 3-on-3 right now for the Tar Heels. Bronze is gonna slow up though, and Jones turns it back over. Reminder, we got college basketball coming your way tonight. Women's hoops, Texas and Tennessee tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Quan goes down, another free kick with 3.5 minutes to play. Anson Dorrance closing in on a 20th NCAA title for the program, and the trophy just taken out of the bag over there next to the field. Press gets a corner kick.
And for Stanford, they need to take their time here. They don't need to rush it. They need players in the box.
Noguera looking to turn on it, blocked by the other Noguera. Hawkins can't clear. Riley touches to Press. She's double teamed. And Noguera just sends it into space. 2:45 to play.
On that corner kick, I think Kristen Press rushed that corner kick. When you have the bodies up, it makes things more chaotic for North Carolina. They didn't have enough. That's why North Carolina was able to clear it out. There's still 2.5 minutes left. Take your time, take a deep breath, because that might be your best opportunity.
Noyola with the burst now. Taylor. Over to Riley. Klingenberg. The ricochet into the box. Hawkins drills it. 2 minutes to go to decide the championship. The Tar Heels in blue with the 1-0 lead over Stanford in white. Press, offsides. The offside flag went up right in front of the Stanford bench. They don't like it at all. That's twice they found the back of the net and twice offsides.
You know, that's a close call because it looks like Evelyn was keeping her on for a little bit, but I think that Evelyn stepped up just in the nick of time to keep her offsides. It's a close call. It's a bold call by the referee, but what a great shot by Press.
Back to Stanford. Verlew couldn't contain. Jones to Noguera. North Carolina just trying to hold on for the final minute and 10 seconds. Verlew, double teamed.
1 minute. 1 minute remaining.
Over the end line, and it's a corner kick with under a minute to play. Everybody coming up for Stanford.
You've got to send everybody up. You've got 45 seconds left. Make sure you get a good kick on this, though.
Heath heads it out. This is the goalkeeper, Maker, trying to play it forward. And Jones lost it out of bounds. The frantic restart. Tobin Heath. Oh, what a play to keep it in bounds to work the clock. 15 seconds to go for the Tar Heels. They were offside.
10.
Final 10 seconds.
7.
The McDonald goal in the 3rd minute
3, 2, 1.
gets the Tar Heels a 20th NCAA title. The 09 National Championship trophy is going home to Chapel Hill.
Fans, we ask you to keep your seats. We will do the trophy presentation.
The announcing of the alternate team momentarily. Thank you.
The undefeated season comes to an end for Stanford. And North Carolina, the senior class, goes out on top with its third trophy and the 20th for the Tar Heel program. Jessica McDonald with the goal in the 3rd minute, assisted by Heath and Noguera. And then the other critical play, the O'Hara red card in the 73rd minute.
The NCAA Women's College Cup is presented on ESPN by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up.
Welcome back to the Aggie Soccer Complex in College Station, Texas. North Carolina wins the national championship for the 20th time in school history. 1-0 the final over the Stanford Cardinal, who had come in undefeated. Let's take a look at the Coke Zero game track. We've talked all game, Kat, about pressure and possession. And look at the difference in shots and in corner kicks, the advantages for Carolina. And they won that possession battle as well.
Well, we said who would be high pressure. Would high pressure win out or would possession win out? And actually the high pressure gave the possession to North Carolina, so they inevitably both worked out, but both for North Carolina.
Joining us now down on the field is the goal scorer in the 3rd minute, Jessica McDonald. And Jessica, you transferred into North Carolina to play in a match like this. Can you take us through that goal that you scored early today?
Yeah, I saw Casey take the ball up the line, and I always know that she's going to take on her player on the outside. And Anton always told us to slash the defenders, and that's what I did. I got a foot on it, and it went in. Thanks, God.
What does it feel to send these seniors out with a 3rd national championship?
It's absolutely amazing. We wanted to play for them. We wanted them to go off the bang. We wanted them to finish with a national championship, and most of all for Nikki Washington, who didn't get the chance to play in the last NCAA tournament and this season.
Jessica, what was it like out there? You were on the sideline at the end watching all the pressure coming from Stanford. How were you guys able to keep things together and stay so poised in those tough situations?
Like you said before, we have high pressure, and that's what we want to do. Pressure the ball all over the field, no matter who had the ball. If we can double team, and we'll be successful.
Well, I mean, game-winning goal. Tell us how you feel now that you've propelled this team to a national championship, and what are you going to do when you're done with it?
I feel great. Obviously, celebrate when I get home, and glad that the seniors finished with a big bang.
You going to Disney World?
Oh, definitely.
Congratulations, Jessica McDonald.
Thank you.
And the North Carolina Tar Heels, they win the national championship with the 1-0 victory over Stanford. The other key play, the accumulated yellow cards from Kelly O'Hara, who is the front runner for National Player of the Year honors, and both of them coming in the 2nd half.
Well, they were both deserved yellow cards. I think the second one that we just see here is completely out of frustration. She wanted that ball back. It was in the second part of the 2nd half when she just wanted to score a goal for him. And, you know, she's a high-pressure type forward where she wants to come back on defense. And unfortunately, both were yellow cards, and it resulted in a red card, which meant that Stanford didn't have her at the end of the game.
And a brilliant career comes to a close for O'Hara. And this Stanford team that set so many records this year, the best team in Cardinal history, getting them to the finals for the first time. And O'Hara and Press able to rewrite the record books along the way. But the North Carolina Tar Heels will take home that trophy. And Anson Dorrance, do we need to make more room in the trophy case, or are you guys ready for this one? Can you talk about that 2nd half and withstanding that Stanford pressure?
Well, yeah, we went in at halftime, and obviously we made an effort to try to get the girls to sustain the pressure, but the amount we invested in the 1st half made it very difficult in the 2nd half, especially in a 2nd game of the weekend. So we knew we were going to fatigue a bit, but we knew Stanford was going to get forward and make some things happen, and they did. I mean, it was sort of like, they talk about basketball being a game of runs. Well, Stanford had their run about a 10 to 15-minute period in the 2nd half, and we were weathering that storm. And we just, dodged some bullets, got a couple breaks, and then were able to sort of ride it out.
What was kind of the game plan when Kelly O'Hara went out with the red card?
Well, we had decided before the ejection that regardless of what was going to happen at 15 minutes, we were going to try to ride it out in a 3-5-2. We have the personnel to play it. We've got Allie Hawkins, a starter at holding midfield, and then Amber Brooks, who's had just a phenomenal freshman year in the same position. When Allie got hurt, Amber came in and just played incredibly well for us, and so we could sit 2 quality holding midfielders on our 3, and then try to pressure with 2 up front. And of course, Tobin is like having an extra 2 players just running around the middle of midfield. So the plan was to ride it out, whether or not we were, scoring a lot. We were going to ride it out with 15, and even though they had an ejection, we decided to do the same thing.
All right, well, thank you very much, Anson, and congratulations sending out this senior class with another national championship. 1-0, the final score. North Carolina gets the win over Stanford. Your final thoughts?
Well, I thought it was a great game. It was very fun to watch. And, North Carolina, they based that whole 3-4-3 system on high pressure. And they were able to get it done, especially in the first half. And I think for Stanford, it was just a little bit too much. And this is a great Stanford team, and I think we're going to see them in years to come.
Casey Noguera was the offensive most outstanding player of the tournament. Whitney Engen, the defensive most outstanding player for the North Carolina Tar Heels. And for this Dynasty, 20 NCAA championship trophies now in the case in Chapel Hill. Noguera finding McDonald in the 3rd minute, and it held up. And the Tar Heels win the title. Coming up next, more soccer from the Spanish Primera Division. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Kat Whitehill, I'm Beth Moen. So long from College Station.